I'm in Chilliwack, BC at one of my proteges, Scott Hebert's farm. His farm is called Flavorful Farms, and he's a micro farm. It's less than a quarter acre of production. He's got everything in units of 25-foot beds, 30-inch. And I've done a previous video with Scott, and actually a lot of people were asking me to do a follow-up with him. I did a video with him last year called Lessons from My First Year Farming. So this is Scott's second year of farming, and he's still doing this part-time. He's still balancing a full-time job. And so I wanted to just catch up with Scott and see what's working for him this year and what isn't. All right, Scott.
Hey,
thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Yeah. So you got some new stuff going on this year.
Yeah, for sure.
What from last year? So I mean, I guess if you guys haven't met Scott, check out his video from last year to give you some context. But I had a lot of people ask what he was up to, so I was actually passing through, and so here I am popping in on him. How's the season been going?
Pretty good. I'm selling to 2 different grocery stores this year.
Okay.
And then that's basically my only revenue stream, and I'm still working another job at a golf course.
Okay.
So that's those are my revenue streams that takes up all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you last year you tried a farmer's market a bit?
Yeah.
And did you try to get into some restaurants?
Okay, I got into some restaurants, but I was having I had one guy that was really good, and then everybody else was like small orders, kind of a pain in the butt, to deal with. And it was fine. It was like my first year, and I wasn't producing that much. It was good, but the farmer's market thing was bad. Didn't work out. I got told I was going to get into one, and then 2 weeks before the season started, got told no.
Oh, jeez.
And then so I went to a really small one in town, and then that wasn't really worth my time to do because I was making under $100. So
forget that.
Yeah. So then it was my big takeaway from last season was that I thought I could have made more money if I only did one thing.
Yes.
Because I still have another job.
Right.
Right. So I don't have that much time. So that was my big takeaway. So then at the end of last year, I had all this extra stuff, and so I took it to grocery stores to see if they were interested in it. So everyone said yes. And so I was like, that's pretty cool. So I set up my whole farm to be selling at the grocery stores this year and just do that one revenue stream.
Yeah.
Because that's what was my big takeaway from last year.
Yeah. So you're simplifying things, and what do you think it looks like as a growth trajectory? Can you leverage these market streams, and maybe next year you're thinking of going full time, or what's it looking like?
So I was definitely thinking that I needed to have something that was going to be the centerpiece of my operation.
Yeah.
And that if I got those grocery stores, that's really steady, and I could do that. So I just wanted to. I've been saying I want to hit a home run. I want to hit home runs with the grocery stores.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do. I just try to do 2 grocery stores because I thought I could do that, and just try to hit home runs. So there's one that's 10 minutes away, and right away in the first week, I think I started replacing Earthbound there.
Great.
So they dropped Earthbound, just took my stuff. And there was another store that's 15 minutes away, but it's quite a bit bigger.
Yeah.
They're doing quite a bit more. And then just this week, they're going to drop Earthbound.
Perfect.
And I'm taking over there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you're getting some brand recognition in there,
totally.
and then there's some growth.
Yeah.
That's great.
I can do, and then next year I can do more stores and more products. This year when I went in there, I basically said, my sales pitch was, I'm going to be a local version of Earthbound. I'll be 100% on my spring mix. I'll have lots of spring mix, but everything else, which is spinach, arugula, and red Russian kale, might have production issues on it. And they're like, that's fine, totally fine.
Yeah. So you're essentially still farming part-time.
Yeah.
How many hours do you think you're putting into your farming week?
Man, that's tough to say.
Because this is actually a thing that people ask me a lot of, and when I was coming up here, I didn't think about that this might be a good context for us to talk about, but I think there's a lot of people out there that might want to know this. Are you working a full-time job off the farm?
Full-time job.
40 hours a week?
Yeah, 40 hours a week.
Okay.
Last week was the first week that I didn't make my 80 hours for my paycheck. I think I only worked 72.
Right, so you put in a bit more time on the farm.
I was burning out. It was hard. I had a couple tough weeks the past month.
Wow.
Just burning out. Just too much work. Because I'm working at a golf course, so the same thing. When it's busy there, right? Because summertime, you have to be there. Farm's busy too, right?
Yeah.
Everything needs to get watered. My farm needs to get watered. The golf course needs to get watered.
Right. So maybe take us through a work week. Monday to Friday, you're not working. You're probably doing farming stuff on the weekend.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Right. So what does a Monday through Sunday look like for you right now?
Okay, so I have orders twice a week because I'm delivering.
Tuesdays and Fridays?
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially. Sometimes it depends on when they text and everything.
Right.
But yeah, so Friday is like my hard day. The grocery stores are cool if I bring it on Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
So I'm flexible there.
Yeah.
But that Friday morning, I have to have that delivery.
Right.
So other than that, it kind of depends what's going on at the golf course.
Yeah.
So I have, most of the time on Monday, I'll go to the golf course right away, go cut the whole course or half the course, and then I come home and do what I need to do on the farm. So early in the week, that will be like pulling beds,
Yeah.
pulling stuff out. So sometimes I'll pull stuff out and then just leave it on top of the bed because I know I'm not going to like be able to turn it over for the next day or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next day I'll come back and turn over.
Right.
And then I'll harvest the day before, put it in my cooler, and then sometimes I've been waking up early before I do the delivery and bag it in the morning.
Yeah.
Because that's just I don't mind doing that in the morning, just stuffing stuff into bags, having a coffee, right? It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what my week looks like. A lot of times really kind of depends on what's happening, but I'll go to work, come back, go to work for a little bit, and come back. So it's kind of like a little break. But I think a big part of it is you have to have something between what you're doing to kind of transition between working. You know what I mean? You have to have a little bit of a break. Like,
so you're not just grinding constantly.
Because you're working pretty much every day, right?
Yeah. So are you you're doing stuff on your farm something every day?
Something every day. But lots of times it will be really easy stuff.
Yeah.
Like transplanting lettuce or doing something. Like it's not none of it's hard. The hard like physical work is at the beginning of the year when you're like setting everything up. But now that it's pumping, like it's just pretty easy. It's just having the time to do it is more.
So you've got how much in production here?
I have 48 25-foot beds.
Okay, so you're less than a quarter acre.
Oh yeah,
you're like an eighth of an acre in production, really.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean you've got the ability to expand, right?
Yes.
Like above, we were looking at how you can go into that other L-shaped part. You plan to expand that into next year.
I think I'll have, now that I know. This year I was planting blind because I didn't know, first of all, if they were going to take my product, and number two, if they took my product, how much they were going to take.
Yeah.
So now that I've got, just this week has been the time where now they have like set orders, like this is what you need to make. And so now I know that I need to have a bed and a half of lettuce coming out every single week. So now I can plan my farm a lot better, whereas before, like right now I have way too much lettuce. I'm going to have to pull some beds of lettuce just because I wanted to overplant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
So what's work like? You've been doing. Is this your second year doing this now? Okay. So what are some of the takeaways this year? Like, what would you say was great, was success, and what are some things that you're like, yeah, no, I'm going to drop that. I'm not going to do it this way or grow that thing again next year.
I didn't really like doing the microgreens so much.
Yeah.
Honestly, a little
tedious.
Too tedious for me.
Especially because you're at the job.
Yes, and I didn't have the infrastructure to scale it up. So it was like there was never a chance that I was going to be doing like $1,000 a week at it. It was only going to be like a couple hundred or something. So it was pretty easy for me to say like, hey, because you have to get trays, you have to worry about washing your trays, you have to get soil, you have to worry, it's a whole different seed order. Like it's just like all these other things to make $50 a week. Like, right? So I didn't really like doing the microgreens so much. I think that you have to pick something that's, especially if you're going to be working another job, pick something that's low maintenance, that's easy to grow, and then try to sell that. Yeah. Because you can't be fighting battles. Like even with like my arugula, I've had flea beetles all summer, right? Which is fine, but I don't really have time to be going out, getting my insect netting, putting up all my hoops, doing all that, because that's just extra like 3 hours, right, of work every time I'm changing beds. I got to pull that off, pull it back on, pull it back on, put it back on. So it's just like, can I drop arugula?
Or maybe drop it for the summer. Is flea beetle an issue in the spring?
No, not so much.
Yeah.
But it's just cold, right? Cold and wet. We have so much. We have so much rain here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the infrastructure on your farm.
Yeah.
So you got your walk-in cooler.
Yeah.
Did you have that last year?
Yes. I think that's the most critical piece of infrastructure that I have.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing all leafy greens. That's the only way that I can get a good product to store. And I've had like such great compliments on my stuff at the store. Everybody's just been ranting and raving about it. It's been pretty cool, and it's all because I have that cooler.
Yeah, and you've got now a nice washing station happening.
Yeah.
So you got your bubbler happening.
Yep.
And the washing screen, and you don't have a proper mechanized spinner yet.
Yeah.
You're cranking them.
Cranking it. Yeah.
How's that going?
It sucks. It's just a lot of work when you know that there's something way better. But I had my budget for the year, and you just can't keep spending money.
No,
right?
Especially when you are still working off farm.
Yeah, and the big thing for me this year was that I didn't know for sure if they were going to take my stuff. Like, I had promises of sales, but it doesn't mean that you're going to make a sale, right?
Yeah.
So that was the big thing for me, because I had a lot of anxiety at the beginning of the year because I was planting stuff out, and I was just like, if they say no, like, where am I going to sell this,
yeah,
right?
It's all for nothing.
Yeah, I didn't really have a backup plan, so it was scary for sure. But so I just tried to get like the minimum infrastructure that I would need to take stuff to the grocery store. So I thought that I could spin by hand the same as a machine does. It's just going to take a lot longer.
Yeah.
But I can't necessarily wash it as well in totes, right?
Yeah.
By hand. That bubbler just does
it does it so much faster.
Yeah, it's so much better. So I spent the money on the bubbler.
Right. So for you, the bubbler was more critical than the spinner.
Bubbler, and having like labels and bags and stuff, having my barcodes on there, so everything just looked like legit and good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How critical is the greens harvester for you on the farm?
Really critical. I'm doing a lot of lettuce right now. That's my biggest crop, and I can't use it on that.
Yeah.
So, but as I get into my spinach and arugula and red Russian kale, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing tool. Anything that saves you time is.
Yeah.
Especially when, like, because I'm so crunched for time, last year and this year, it's just like everything that takes you that next level of efficiency, you just get so much more rewards out of it.
Yeah.
Like, if I had 100 hours a week to spend on my farm, I wouldn't have to worry about being efficient.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
But I don't.
Yeah.
I have like 40, 20.
Well, it's an
whatever.
interesting lesson. So, like, what would you say if you had 3 pieces of infrastructure that were like absolutely critical to you at your part-time farm, the way it's set up now? Walk-in cooler would probably be one, right?
Walk-in cooler. Oh yeah. 100%.
What do you think? What do you think next?
I'll tell you what. That BCS would not be one of them.
Yeah.
It would not. Like,
Right.
I wouldn't do that.
Because you only really need it at the beginning.
Yeah,
to
I
set
would
it up.
totally.
Yeah.
I would not do that. I try not to use it between the greens harvester, the walk-in cooler, and then I think somewhere to do nice transplants, like something you need to have your stuff to do transplants correctly.
Yeah.
I
So
think
maybe a paper pot transplanter.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a big investment though for you
But-
and where you're at right now.
kind of. But if that's what my farms could basically be, all transplants.
Then you could speed things up and
It
way
would
less
be
time in the
crazy.
field.
Yeah, the
Interesting.
problem I have right now is that I don't really have the space to do that many transplants.
Yeah.
But I could, because it's such a small space too, that if you can shave a couple weeks off your times, right,
Yeah.
then you're making more money because you can
That's
flip
right.
the beds faster too.
Right.
So even though you have to have extra costs in the trays and the space, you make it up for it, especially if you're doing it over
Exactly.
years, right?
So going forward in the next season,
Yeah.
what do you think? What are going to be some upgrades for you?
Paper pot transplanter and growing under plastic, some sort of protected culture.
Yeah.
This year I'm gonna limp into winter with just poly low tunnels on everything.
Yeah.
And go as far as I can with that. But after that, it's gonna have to be caterpillar tunnels. We get so much rain here in December.
Caterpillar tunnels will save you from the rain.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. Low tunnels are.
Oh yeah, I know the low tunnels aren't great, but it's just kind of
It's cheaper
what
though.
I got the money to spend on
Yeah,
it, right?
that's right.
It will
Yeah.
get me through winter, and then I'll be able to take a break for a little bit, and then just boom, hit it hard in the spring. But
And then-
caterpillar tunnels for sure.
What about like spinner? Are you thinking about?
Oh yeah,
trying
spinner
that?
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a critical piece of infrastructure. But it was just now, especially now that I have sales and it's going pretty well.
Yeah.
Right, so-
Well, that's good, man. It's good to know that you've got this thing now. It's taken a little while to get it in place.
Yeah.
But now you can just kind of like inch it forward.
Totally.
And move it.
And the one really nice thing about the grocery stores is that, number one, I can go to other grocery stores now and say, like, I got into the grocery stores because I went in there and then I was just like, yeah, I've been selling at restaurants every single week since October 2015.
Yeah.
And like some of those orders weren't that great, like $30, $40, right? But I still sold every single week from that time. So I had already been doing it for a year and a half. So now when I go to my next grocery stores next year, I can go, hey, I've already been selling to 2 grocery stores.
And you've got a product with a barcode.
Product, barcode,
Yeah,
everything.
you're
And
good to
then,
go.
so then I can the number of stores can increase, but also the number of products that I do can increase.
Yeah, the SKUs can
Yeah.
increase.
So
Good
it
stuff.
just scales up both ways. So there's a lot of room for finding that happy medium with everything.
Awesome, dude. Well, maybe I'll slide by next year and
Cool.
check in on you and see how that's all going.
Yeah, more than welcome to.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
All right. All right, so that is Scott and his farm. Check out his podcast and his Instagram. I'll have the links below. You can follow Scott's progress, and he'll take you along for a journey just like I do. Talk to you guys later.